Turning off the music. And chat should be able to hear us. Loris, you want to give me a sound check real quick? Okay, cool.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello? So working?
Yep, we're getting bars. We're good. Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast for the week of the 21st of April, 2021. I'm your host, Leanna, and I am here with our cool panel, including Father Loris.
Sup?
And Rose will be joining us shortly. She's dealing with the rosebud at the moment. Lambert's going to be taking the week off, but yeah, Rose should be here in just a few minutes. We've got quite a bit of news to talk about today. Yeah, while we're waiting for Rose, because I think she'll want to weigh in on the humankind stuff. What's going on in the world of Father Loris this week? Let's do this segment first.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness, it's thrown me way off.
Yeah.
I've been actually doing some drawing. Fun fact.
Nice.
Hopefully get the comic done. Catching up on commissions. Lots of sketches. And putting off the worst part of doing any comic, which is drawing the backgrounds, because they're really boring. If you want some insight onto like drawing comics backgrounds, there's a reason why most Revit comic artists, once they've got like a little bit of money, they get other people to draw backgrounds.
Yeah,
because there's nothing fun happening in the backgrounds. There's no like emoting. It's just a landscape or a room, and it's all just boring.
I want to like subcontract somebody to draw hands. I've never been able to draw hands.
Well, there is a reason why all my characters have got like little stick noodly arms.
Yeah, I mean the NoCB logo. Those hands are pretty accurate and detailed, relatively speaking.
Take a good look at them.
Yeah, No, that looks like a real. Yeah, that looks like a perfectly correct.
Yeah. If you were
hello.
And Rose is back. Excellent.
Yes, and the Rosebud has a clean diaper now because he has like perfect timing just as we're about to go live.
It was like 3 or 4 things at once. Like the garbage truck, which is very loud, pulled up to my apartment right as we were about to go live. Snowlit is insane, kind of poor timing considering the grand campaign is almost finished. It's more that this is the only time that we can get all 4 of us from 4 different time zones together during the week. We don't have a lot of flexibility on that. So yeah, you can have them both.
If we go any later than this, it gets into dinner and bedtime for the baby.
Yeah, and it's pretty late for the Europeans.
Luckily, me and
Lambert
Lambert
can't go earlier because that's bedtime for his kid.
Yeah,
so...
right.
True, but me and Lambert are also both like sleep degenerates, and we stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning. So it would probably absolutely be no problem at all.
Yeah, so. Yeah. There was one day this past week that I accidentally stayed up until like 4:30 in the morning playing Stellaris. And it completely.
I could have ended that sentence for you, no problem.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It was just one of those like I looked at the clock and was like, oh heck, this is I can't believe I did that.
I used to do that before having a kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen after having a kid.
Probably not.
I was playing some Stellaris with a friend yesterday, and we were up until like 11, and she was like, "Oh, it's getting late. We should play it." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's really late. Yeah, we should probably stop."
Yeah, no, I have our Stellaris multiplayer group actually. 2 of my very oldest friends in there are They always like have a hard cutoff at 10 p.m. and I'm like, you're just basically old people at this point. I'll mail you a cane. Shiro, if you're watching, just giving you a hard time. Well, our first little bit of news this week is that we got another culture revealed for the contemporary era in humankind. It's the Australians, and my friend Peter, who is from Australia, was not super happy with how they're depicted. Their emblematic district is a strip mine.
Yeah. I love this. I really like it.
I wanted them to be miners, but I think maybe they could have gone with a different name.
No, I mean, like, this is perfect, because although Australians don't want to be known for it, Australia is just an export nation for raw goods. I mean,
it's the joke I made to him is it's like they based the entire culture on the mineral exports joke from Flight of the Conchords. It's like what happens in Australia? They export minerals, I guess, rocks, metals. I
have to say though, this is probably my favorite, without giving too much away about the modern civilizations. Just the idea that the Australians can go into space. The Australians can can be some amazing global nuclear power. It's just so much fun to be had playing as Australia. Was essentially a failed state in the real world.
I don't actually know what this truck is. I don't know. Do you know anything about this, Lars?
PMV. Let's see.
PMV.
I don't know. I feel like it should have been something to do with emus, but
yeah. I mean, I liked in Civ 6 that they got the diggers, but I guess the contemporary in humankind is after the World Wars, kind of. So it might not have fit. 6. Yeah.
Oh man, like in Civ 6 too, they had the theme that was
Bushmaster Protected Mobility Vehicle.
Ah.
Huh. Is it for fighting emus? Like, what are they? It looks like it's got a machine gun on it, but I don't know what they use these for. Yeah.
Here, there's the link to the Wikipedia on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, Rosebud.
Speaking of Civ 6, though, in the Australian Civ 6, like they have Waltzing Matilda reimagined in their themes, which is amazing.
It's a really good rendition of it too, because they use kind of Aboriginal instruments in the earlier eras, and then they add in more European instruments later. Yeah. So
cool. I really like it.
Who else had Australia on their guest list? I know
no one did.
I did.
Did you?
I'm 3 for 3 so far.
Okay.
If you count the fact that they already
3 for 3, did I miss one?
They announced
America, Australia.
Way back like months ago when people were asking why there was no Chinese Civ in the medieval era. They did say that the People's Republic of China would be one of them. So they haven't officially announced it yet. But so far, all 3 of the ones that have been announced were on my guest list.
I remember very, 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 very strongly holding my tongue when you were mentioning Australia. I was like, yes, Australia, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, let me see. I didn't write... I should have typed out what everyone's guesses were, because I have mine in a little doc. But yeah,
you didn't type them out?
No, I need to go back and find which episode it is. Yeah, my guess is...
If anyone in chat or watching this knows what episode, leave a comment and tell us, please.
My guesses were the Americans, which have been announced, Australians, which have been announced, People's Republic of China, which hasn't officially been announced, but they did kind of confirm it already, Soviet Union, Brazil, India, Ethiopia, modern Japan, I don't know what they're going to call it, and then the Canadians and the Arabians were the ones that I guessed. So at this point, I don't think that they would do America and Australia and Canada, so I'm probably going to miss at least one. But yeah.
Oh, here you go. I had Brazil, China, Cuba, India, Italy, Japan, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, USA, and USSR.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be curious, and I don't remember what Lambert's were. I know he had the EU on there, which I'm actually thinking might actually be correct. Because I can't think what other European one that they would do that wouldn't like annoy all of the other European countries. Yeah.
But even putting the EU might annoy some European countries.
True, you really can't win there.
They're going to evict themselves from Europe.
Europe is so used to making up like half the faction list that you'd need to add 5 or 6 just to feel like, you weren't gonna annoy anybody. But yeah.
Again, it's Eurocentric, and I think this game is trying not to be Eurocentric.
Yeah, at least trying to. In the later era, I hope. Yeah. So yeah, so, they're going to be a late game builder civ. Not sure how that's going to play out necessarily in terms of... I feel like production bonuses in like civ aren't as useful in the late game, because by then, unless you're involved in like a big war, you don't need production as much. I guess for like space parts and stuff, but there is no like space race victory in
For now.
Humankind.
Who knows, they might add one.
Or it could be something that gives you fame or
right?
renown or whatever they're calling it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. We will see. We will see.
I'm sorry. That was a computer mouse.
Well, Australia, being in the southern hemisphere, they're starting to head into their winter, but CK3 is heading into its summer, it looks like. And they're calling it an Azure summer.
Sweden's not.
Yeah.
It has waves of winter. Apparently, it's going to be snowing in Stockholm soon, so I think that's a full winter they're hitting at the moment.
Yeah, actually, two of the 3 times I've been to Stockholm, it was actually pretty nice. One time it was really cold and terrible, but yeah, they get.
Well,
it would.
fair play to Scotland. Stockholm's a very nice city. It's regardless. It's nice anyway.
Well, and it's on the water, so it's it's not as cold
tomorrow. To Bjorn.
The 4th winter. Keep track of all those winters, Bjorn. I want to know which one you can rank up to.
Sweden has
10th winter.
Sweden has as many winters as hobbits have breakfasts. It's or meals in a day. Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
So yeah, the next big patch for CK3 is going to be called Azure. It's going to be a free patch. There's not going to be an expansion associated with it. And it's mostly focusing on quality of life stuff, it looks like. A lot of most rulers are going to start with men-at-arms at game start now, which is kind of nice if you want to declare an early war, but also because you don't get to control the composition, I feel like I'm going to be disbanding a lot of them anyway. Which Meneth was saying it's going to decrease your starting income by about 20%, but also you're going to start with more gold now. So you'll have a little bit more of a cushion. Well,
it's the first thing you do at the start of a new game, right? You just like pump up those
man-at-arms.
Yeah, as long as I have the money for it, yeah.
As long as you have the money and you have the tech to get
catapults.
Oh god. Yeah, catapults. Those are like
the
first thing you build. Because it makes such a huge difference.
Yep. You can win a lot of early wars, even with a smaller army, if you have better siege weapons. Because they'll just...
And you can grab the war targets faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Siege Weapon Rush is definitely the way to go.
I think someone made a webcomic of that. I think.
Did they? No.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was Control-Alt-Delete, did it? Tim Buckley.
But here's another thing that's relevant to us and probably a lot of things working, that they're going to be releasing a multiplayer stability open beta.
Yes.
To try to fix some of the ongoing issues with large multiplayer games. It's going to have some additional logging enabled to help them figure out where the issues actually are, which does make the game run slower. So they're saying you might not want to use this beta for single player, but they are encouraging everybody to try it out in multiplayer. Yeah.
I only ever play multiplayer pretty much, so.
Yeah.
Here's hoping it lets Creator Coliseum return.
I hope so. I really hope so, yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of events, we've got the Grand Campaign coming up, right? Which I believe is starting with CK3.
Yeah, I think it actually was running at the start of the show, is what people in chat were telling me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think with Senate, their last vote was most important religion aspect, gender equality or witchcraft allowed. And apparently everyone's going for gender equality.
Why not both? Those are both so good.
Maybe they only have enough. Ooh, I know Rosebud agrees it should be both too.
Yeah.
But maybe they only have enough piety to do one.
Oh, yeah, that could be it.
Yeah. I'll check out the VOD then. I guess it's all streamed, I imagine.
Yeah, I believe that they'll have VODs available. They almost always do.
Oh, and I'm sure they'll put it up on the their channel on YouTube. And I would make a bet that Agmade, also known as Long Game Short, will be shortening it, whether he does it for himself or Paradox pays him to do it for them.
Does Agamede, do you have like a nemesis from the Nega universe that's short game long? that just takes something like really simple like war and just really overcomplicates it. That's what I want to.
I mean, isn't that what Hearts of Iron does already to begin with?
A little bit. Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as Hearts of Iron 3 in terms of complexity, but yeah. What was I?
If it's happening now, it's really awkward. We can't just say like go check it out because it'll steal viewers from us. So can we just say like
and
go check it out afterwards?
go vote on the voting part, which.
Yeah, just do what I've been doing most of the day where I haven't been able to watch. I just get pinged and pull it up and vote. Which one sounds cooler?
Right, yeah. Join the chaos voting block. Vote whatever you think will cause the most chaos. That's the way to go.
Apparently, one of the votes they got it to be like 420 yes and 69 no.
Perfect.
See, that's coordination right there. That makes me proud of this community.
Same.
The other little thing was they said as most of you have already figured out, the first big expansion for CK3 will be revealed during PDXCon in May. So
yeah, I think that's probably a given.
Yeah, I mean that was like a free space in bingo. I think.
As soon as they did that first dev diary back in February, and they said that there were two, one soon, one later.
Yeah. So we're getting a CK3 expansion announcement and a new PDS game expansion, or a new PDS game announcement for sure. So there's definitely going to be a lot to talk about. That might not.
I imagine like the name and the focus of the Hearts of Iron stuff too. I imagine.
Leanna, Agamede is now in chat. I don't know that he caught your joke earlier.
Oh yeah, well you'll just have to listen back to the podcast. No, I was asking if you had a Nega universe nemesis called Short Game Long. Yeah, but that I don't know where it was. I lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. Nice little change.
Yep,
little small one. Very good.
So we know we'll be hearing about CK3. We'll be hearing about the new game. But today we got to hear a little bit about the future of EU4 from our good friend producer Johan. Both in a dev diary and also he did an interview on Wargamer that was pretty interesting. So with a new team and a huge debt, referring to technical debt, they took the decision to work out a new philosophy on how they should expand EU4 from Tinto, which if you boot up EU4 after the patch, you'll see that it is actually the Paradox Tinto logo now, not the Paradox Development Studio logo. But paid features should be standalone and easy to maintain. It's kind of the direction all of the major Paradox games have been going. No major feature reworks while we still have a lot of bugs. Reducing the bug count as much as possible. Adding more content like missions, graphics, and music. And fleshing out parts of the map that have not gotten attention in the last few years. Which makes me hopeful for like the Western North America getting the same treatment that they did for Eastern North America. Indigenous South America could definitely use, well, Eastern Indigenous South America could use a lot of work. It's still pretty much just empty land with like 5 little migrating tribes in it.
Well, the thing is too, I mean, when people say like parts of the world could use some fleshing out, everyone just instantly goes to the part of the world where they like to play. So I read that and went, oh yes, more content for China. Good. Instantly. It's like, so everyone can read into whatever they want from that bullet point.
What more? Thinking like realistically, what more would you actually want them to add to China? I'm curious.
Oh gosh, that's more faction stuff. I would have liked more stuff with the estates. Yeah, I think the estates, the internal, the whole thing about China is like you get the mandate and then it's sort of you're doing your internal realm, but there's not much about estates, the rise of a merchant class, how the eunuchs fought about the merchants, and also a lot more about the succession from the Ming Dynasty to the Qing Dynasty. That seems rather slow at the moment. I mean, it did occur over a very short period of time, so I think like more blitzkrieg China.
I think it would be really interesting to do something for Confucianism that's similar to the metropolitan system. that the Orthodox get, as far as like expanding the bureaucracy in specific states and things like that.
Also, I mean, this is something that's requested for a lot of places, religious minorities. I mean,
right.
Confucianism may have been the guiding ideology of the empire, but there was a hell of a lot of Buddhists living in China, which is not really represented in China at the moment.
The Eastern religious syncretism is just not represented well in EU4 that much at all.
I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah. Rose, is there an area of the map on EU4 you would like to see get some more love?
I would just like to see EU5.
I'm
done with EU4. I'm done. I want EU5.
Yeah. Fair enough. I hope that they're at least working on it. So
well, considering how big EU4 is, how many people still play it,
right?
I'm sure there will be an EU5 at some point in the future.
That's pretty much a given. Yeah.
There's someone talking about, they fix 700 bugs in EU4 and that creates 2,000 more just because it's such an old game with so much DLC. It's just got so much going on. It's having the same problem CK2 was having towards the end.
EU4 is going to turn 8 years old this year. That's so weird to think about. Like, they also mentioned, or Johan mentioned, the loading time, to get that down like they did with Stellaris would require engine changes that are probably not going to happen with EU4 since it's such an old game. Because Stellaris loads so much faster now. I was amazed. The other really interesting, this is giving me.
We have Valorgames pointing on chat. There'll be 8 years for them in Paradox games. Yeah, I've been 9 years. So, because it was about this time I bought the original Crusader Kings when I discovered CK2 wouldn't run on my laptop.
Wargamer's running terrible political ads, even if I have an ad blocker on. I don't like that.
Mine was whatever Divine Winds came out.
Let's keep the politics off of here. And there's no politics allowed that are, more than 300 years old. Or less than 300 years old.
Also, it's very weird to think that people who could be 18 now, right? EU4 came out when they were 10, which is disgusting to think.
I
don't like the existence of young people, is what I'm saying.
Their original Sims came out in 2000. There's like at least one big YouTuber who streams and makes videos for The Sims. She wasn't born when the original game came out.
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
terrifying. That's my only politics I'm inserting. Get rid of young people because they make me feel old. That's my politics. Ban young people.
We're getting to that point where it's like, no more young people.
If you were born after the year 2000, that's it. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to live on the moon or something. Just because I'm feeling uncomfortable already.
Right, we're gonna do like reverse.
You have to send the Rosebud away.
Rosebud is part of the podcast, so Rosebud gets a pass. Yeah. But yeah, Johan in this interview with Wargamer said on EU4's Horizon more expansions with an S, so probably multiple more expansions for EU4.
I just thought actually, when Rosebud gets older, right? Rosebud wasn't alive when CK3 was announced. And that's going to make us feel really, really old when we get to
I announced I was pregnant with him the day after CK3 was announced.
True.
Way to one-up Paradox.
I have the image already. I was planning to release it right before I came back from PPXCon, but it was like perfect timing.
Yeah. Well, they said there's still parts of the world we want to look at. But they're not on a similar level to Leviathan, so we probably won't get anything as comprehensive as... I mean, Leviathan changed a lot of stuff. Like, Australia, Polynesia, Southeast Asia, and large parts of North America. So, He also said, I think the game doesn't need any huge overhauls at this point. Which I think, yeah, at this point, I would rather they just make EU5 than try to do a huge mechanical overhaul to EU4. Yeah. Gradual small improvements to certain areas and zones. He also said I don't really plan super long ahead on EU stuff anymore, which, if I was going to be like super speculative, I could say that that's evidence that they're already working on EU5, because if they're not planning really far ahead on EU4, then maybe that means that they already have the next game in the pipeline, but that's just pure speculation on my part.
Yeah,
I would speculate with you that, just because, you know, Paradox doesn't like to say, oh, a game is going to come out in January 2027 for sure, until they get much closer to that and realize that's feasible. So they may be like, hey guys, you're going to keep working on EU4 until we're like 6 months out from EU5, but EU5 could come out anywhere between 2020 and 2026. So
and also another thing, like, just because something's in development, I mean, that's the thing that's going to be coming out, or if it's coming out. Like, the way game companies work normally is they have a load of things in development. Sometimes they come to fruition, sometimes they don't. Paradox used to have the policy of basically pumping everything out to fruition, and that's how you got stuff like, was it Gettysburg?
Gettysburg Armored Warfare,
stuff like that.
The publishing side of Paradox used to be a lot less discerning than they are now. He also said, I think a grand strategy game should have 2 to 3 releases in a year, ideally, which seems like
sounds about right.
Crusader Kings and Stellaris have kind of followed that. Hearts of Iron and more recently EU4 have been like 1 expansion a year, but maybe we'll see that pick up a little bit.
And this year is also a bit of an off year. I think everyone's
true.
Yeah,
Emperor was in development for like 4 or 5 centuries, so So that's an interesting article to read from Callum Baines over at Wargamer if you want to hear some more from Johan. Interesting stuff. Be interested to see how many more expansions they can really fit into EU4, but there are definitely areas of the map they could still touch up. So.
Wow. Rosebud's cheering that on.
Yeah. Last little bit we got to, well, it's not little, actually. It's, like most Hearts of Iron dev diaries, it is basically a novel.
It's a biggie.
Part 2 of the Polish focus tree rework for the upcoming patch. This is for the ahistorical stuff, which will be part of the DLC, which we have not... It has not officially been announced yet. Probably we'll hear what it's going to be called at PDXCon, I would imagine. But yeah, you can play as the Peasant Strike, which is pretty cool. You can build support in the countryside and in the cities, and you can also get some of the generals on your side to form the Polish Peasants Militia. Which, interestingly, you can go against Stalin. I don't know how that's even going to work. I mean, I
think you're going to be in trouble if you're going against Stalin.
That's the thing. It's like, Poland. I guess if you're someone like Daniel or like, you know, or like those people who do like world conquests as like Estonia using paratrooper cheese or whatever, like maybe it's theoretically possible. I don't know that a normal Hearts of Iron 4 player playing normally could possibly survive as Poland going against Germany and the Soviet Union. I don't see how that even works.
Be a bit rough, wouldn't it?
I'm sure there's a couple of serious players that could.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the YouTube videos that inevitably come out and see how they actually pulled it off. But I know that's well beyond my abilities as a Hearts of Iron player. Yeah. Yeah, and then you can declare an anti-imperialist agenda and take out the Soviets and the fascists. Yeah, sounds like it'd be kind of difficult. Because it's not even
certainly going to be.
It's not even like you can get them to fight each other. They both have to go through you.
Yeah, I mean,
to get to each other.
Poland famously has had quite unfortunate geography.
Yeah, like it's not like you can lease like a strip of central Poland just for like the Soviets and the Germans to fight each other. It's like don't stray outside of this corridor and fight amongst yourselves.
You can organize a joust.
Exactly.
In Gdansk.
Yeah. So yeah, there's also an option where you can form a democratic pact with France. Don't know if that's going to really help you out a whole lot in the long term either.
Seems a bit rough. Yeah, I mean, if I were to pick any of the allies, maybe.
Yeah.
Working if you were doing a player game, because I have seen a player game where someone as France, they just permanently held off Germany.
That is possible. It is possible.
Yeah.
And I guess if you yeah. Well, I was going to say, if you cede Eastern Poland to the Soviet Union to get them to leave you alone, and then you pincer attacked Germany with France and Poland, that might actually work. Assuming you could keep the Soviets out of the war for long enough for you to do that. Yeah.
Even with a French on board, it's going to be tough to hold back the Germans, right? I mean, I mean, they have better tanks, better equipment, maybe more industrialized.
Right,
it's going to be rough.
Yeah, so...
but, challenge game, I like it. This is something to play not in a sort of multiplayer environment. Maybe.
Right. Oh, and you can form the Commonwealth of Socialist Republics by annexing the Baltic states. They can get a female chairman, a chairwoman, which seems pretty cool. Then if you go the monarchist path, you have 3 different options for who to make king. One of them lets you restore the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. One of them lets you restore the Poland-Romania-Hungary Union that actually, if you went to EU4's start date and clicked the date back one day before the Treaty of Varna, that the Polish-Hungarian Union would still exist, I believe.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it was very short-lived, but there were actually 2 times in history that there was a Polish-Hungarian Union, but neither of them lasted very long.
Oh, it's like one of those technical, technically, I think Syria and Egypt used to be the same country for like a couple of years.
So yeah, you could put King Michael on the throne, or you can pick this weird Cossack guy. This seems like just a random meme option, almost.
Great guy, great hat, great mustache.
He does have a great hat and a great mustache.
I don't know anything about it. I just called him a great guy. He could be the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna roll the dice.
It does say he's a fascist, so Oh,
okay. Well, to be fair, this is a bad time in history to be rolling the dice on world leaders.
Exactly. Yeah. Not that there's ever a great time, but especially the early 20th century. Yeah. Yeah. They also do have a nationalist path, which interestingly, you can join the Axis, but you can also create the Phalangist International with Spain. Phalangism is kind of like Franco's ideology, sort of. And like...
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, go hard into like, supporting global Catholic nationalists in like South America and stuff.
Sort of weird Francoist.
Yeah.
Weirdness. Yeah.
So yeah, they've got some really interesting alt history paths. They also have a dedicated path for government in exile, which I don't think we've seen before, but I would expect to see something similar to this for like...
Free France?
Oh yeah, Free France does.
And doesn't Netherlands have something for government in exile?
So the difference with France and the Netherlands is that they still have their colonies, even if the homeland falls, whereas Poland doesn't have any colonies. So this is entirely based on continuing to fight as an off-map power.
Okay, cool.
Which I would imagine we'll see something similar to this, like if they add like Denmark and Norway later on. So they get some off-map factories. They get a government in exile manpower advisor, which is kind of interesting. And then the main reason that I think that this has so many downvotes, it's 122 downvotes, they get an off-map nuclear reactor.
Oh, okay.
So they can build atomic bombs without having a country, which there was a lot of discussion about in the comments, and Mecha66 did say your feedback has been noted. So I don't know if this will make it into the final release.
Yeah,
I would kind of prefer that it doesn't.
I have to say, probably I love every other aspect of it, actually. I think that's pretty...
It's just...
But maybe that's a bit...
Off-map, certain things like, they wrote about, like, a location they're making bombs.
Yeah.
Spy and terrorist sort of things, but...
Yeah.
I mean, famously, the Poles in exile were incredibly brave people, and they fought very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
And they were sadly very fucked over at the end of the war. But they did not launch nuclear weapons.
No.
That's very silly. So,
yeah. No, like
this
this.
Other stuff you can
this intelligence stuff is great. Like, you can actually build up your spy agency to launch the Warsaw Uprising early. Like, this is the kind of stuff I'd love to see more of in Hearts of Iron 4. Like, this kind of guerrilla warfare, working with resistance fighters on the ground in occupied territories. I love that stuff. Yeah, off-map, what did they say, the Howard said free nukes that are made in Atlantis when only the USA managed to create nukes during the war. Yeah, although Mecha said it's not Atlantis, they're made in the Shadow Realm. Yeah. I think the community reaction to that has been, obviously don't harass developers, but I think the fact that people don't like this focus is pretty valid, and I would not expect this to make it into the final build.
No, same.
It's just a little too silly.
Yeah.
Apart from that, though, I love it.
Being a mod for it, or maybe even it's just if they had a setting.
Yeah.
Like CK has their game rules you can set before.
Oh yeah.
That being a selection of, do you want Poland to have silly nukes?
Yeah, they already have that. They have like the game setup rules where you can tell countries what path to go down, but yeah. So the other thing is, I guess you don't ever have to take this if you don't want it, and I doubt the AI is ever going to do it. So,
multiplayer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, overall, pretty impressed with the Polish tree for the most part so far. I know some people are also disappointed that there was actually a Habsburg claimant to the Polish throne. There were a lot of claimants to the Polish throne after it was released after World War I.
I think there's a Habsburg claimant to the throne that applies through like 90% of the world.
Most monarchies have a Habsburg claimant somewhere. So some people were annoyed that they picked like this random Cossack guy and not the Habsburg claimant. Which I can see that. Maybe modders will add in a path for him at some point. But yeah, that is Poland. So I'm hoping. I know Valor Gain's in chat, so he will also be with me on this, hoping that the next set of Dev Diaries is about the long-awaited and long-needed Soviet rework, because they are definitely the major power from the war that has the most outdated feeling focus tree.
My prediction on that would be that might happen after ParadoxCon. I would have thought.
Maybe.
So the Rosebud muted my microphone.
Uh-oh. Did you have anything you wanted to...
You was talking about the Habsburgs, and I was like, yeah, they probably have claim to every single throne in Europe.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Did you guys ask here for Soviets?
Do not have a rework. They need one.
Yeah.
And then
this. The patch is called Barbarossa. I mean, it's so obvious. It's Soviets. I mean, it'd be kind of silly. I predict for next few probably about maybe Finland or something. I would have thought possibly.
I could see them putting Finland in this patch, or I could see them waiting until they do the Scandinavia patch to do a Finnish focus tree. Yeah.
I think they might do it before because of the whole Winter War stuff.
True. I could see it going either way. Yeah. So. Yes, Valorgain is confirming that that he's been on about this for a long time in terms of the Soviets needing a focus tree rework.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure, big
Mhm.
time. Looking
I've
forward
had
to it.
many comment that in multiplayer games,
Yeah,
like to the point where someone doesn't want to play the Soviet.
especially especially since you know, Kaiserreich has done our boy Kerensky dirty. They need to make a way to get justice for Kerensky in base game 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll obviously like see a Stalin and a Trotsky route, right? I mean, that's
Right. Yeah.
that's a given. And then obviously we're going to get a return of a Tsar for monarchists.
I'm hoping that they will add an anarchist path for the Soviet Union.
Oh, I can't see them doing that. I can't see them doing it.
Yeah, that I would love for the you know, work with the what was the guys
The
at
Ukrainian ones.
Archangelisk or whatever, there was an uprising against the Bolsheviks. I'm mad that I can't think of the name of it.
The Ukrainian ones, or
Not you. It wasn't the Ukrainians. It was somebody in chat's got to know.
No, I don't know. Oh, Kronstadt.
Kronstadt. That's it. The Kronstadt uprising. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that to be a focus tree path for the the Soviets. Either where you can play as them, or you can decide to like listen to their demands and move the Soviet Union closer to a less authoritarian version of socialism. Yeah.
Kronstadt was like quite a bit before the start date, I want to say.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It was.
Because I know Trotsky was involved in the putting down of the Kronstadt.
Right. Yeah.
But obviously Trotsky's well into exile at the start of that time.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you can have Kronstadt too.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
make Stalin read the bread book could be a focus.
Stalin becomes anarchist.
Yeah.
The greatest switcheroo in history.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Russians probably won't get a fascist path. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I could see them getting like a monarchist like a monarchist
where they find Anastasia.
That sounds like something they would do.
Yeah, like something good.
Yeah, the return of the Romanovs. Yeah, that would be that sounds like something Paradox would do. Yeah. Yeah. So
just get the Romanovs like back from the grave. The undead Romanovs.
Of course, you know, Anastasia was if Anastasia's thing, it would also be pet peeve. But what if it's just a pure random chance one? Like, what is it for the Kaiser for Germany, where you have to have the
with Victoria?
Yeah, Kaiser and Victoria, requires a lot of RNG to make that happen.
Queen Elizabeth too is also one.
Yeah,
like to get Queen Elizabeth, I think you need to get a monarchist, have Edward die, and then get bombed or something.
Well, if they had the Anastasia thing, and then even if you did have all that RNG and then catch her, like 2 years down the road, you still have like a 90% chance for everyone to discover she's a fake Anastasia. She's not the real one.
Yeah, or you could just you could just like knowingly do that. Like you could just knowingly pick a random person and say that she's Anastasia. Yeah. So
who would have been the heir to the Romanovs? I don't actually know. Apart from Anastasia.
I don't even know if there is there was a Romanov heir left.
He was like first cousins with the King of England.
Maybe. Let me see.
So there's definitely somewhere something.
First cousin was Nikolai. Cousin Nikki was.
Oh yeah, there actually is a current head of the Romanov dynasty. It's Maria Vladimirovna.
Okay.
He's 67-year-old Private citizen.
Yeah, so there's probably Romanovs about
Yeah.
after they
Great granddaughter in the male line of Emperor Alexander II, born in Madrid. Yeah. So, I guess there are still Romanov claimants today.
Bring back the false Dmitri. That's what we should do. Find the legitimate heirs of the false Dmitri.
Yeah.
And then...
I was thinking another interesting path for the USSR could be if they did like a more decentralized USSR. Like you could release. You could release like Ukraine and Belarus as puppet state or satellite states and
have a Russian SSR be its own thing, I guess.
Yeah, and get the Baltic powers as in like satellite state SSRs. That could be an interesting way to do it too. So Valorgain's saying there is a guy, someone still claiming to be the rightful czar.
It's me.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's me.
so
I am bad czar.
Father Loris is actually the current pretender to the But you're not
Who knew
you're not
the
through
Romanovs who actually spent generations working down Welsh mines and steel mills. Little did they know.
You gotta go back further. You gotta claim to be like the Rurikovich claimant.
Man, I'm such a mudblood. Like the only thing I can claim to be is like king of the mountains or something. That's about it. Like some dwarven king.
Yeah.
if you were king of the barrow mounds.
Could do. I'm gonna be High King Thorgrim. That's what I'm gonna be.
There you go.
King of the mines.
Really hold control of the Black Cauldron.
Yeah.
From which your army of the dead will spring and conquer all of the British Isles for yourself. And then you'll get distracted in front of the fire and you'll forget to rule it and it all goes.
I'll just fall asleep on fire.
Well, Rose, what have you been up to lately?
Streaming Stellaris. I actually managed 3 streams in the past week. Can you
Wow.
believe it? That's a record for a long time.
Yeah.
YouTube stuff is still kind of hooked up with my editor. And then TikTok with the baby Rosebud. And adorableness, like the fact that he pushed a set of stairs or like a footstool across the living room and then tried to climb on the TV stand with it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's getting into trouble.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it.
Distracted in the hallway pushing the vacuum back and forth.
What kind of Empire are you playing on your Stellaris streams?
Merchant Republic. To try and get control of economic powers, go tall, take over the Senate.
Nice.
See where that goes. I don't like having a firmly set goal in mind, sort of just a loose goal, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Very cool. Loris, we talked a little bit about at the beginning about
comics.
I've
done this bit.
Comics you're working on, but what have you been playing? Like, just
I can't do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if you asked me what I'm doing again.
No. Just not even related to work. Just what have you been doing? Strategy game wise. That's fun.
I'll take a wild guess. What's everyone been playing for the past 3 weeks straight?
Gettysburg Armored Warfare, obviously. Yeah.
Stellaris. Yeah. Endlessly.
DJ and Trip say you're playing Stellaris right now. HHH. Egalitarian fanatic xenophiles. That sounds a lot nicer than he normally plays.
Well, he should be watching us, so I'm kind of offended now.
No, I've been playing endlessly Stellaris.
We don't know.
True, he could be multitasking. What Empire were you playing, Loris?
Oh, so I was quite partial to Space China, which is the inward perfectionist.
Yeah,
pretty fun multiplayer because you got such high encryption, no one can know what's happening inside your borders, and it's quite fun to just play play and go, no one's allowed to know what's happening in my secret kingdom. My secret kingdom is just for secret knowledge, only for me. I was playing a bit of trying to become the emperor. Diplomacy is very strong now. I found very, very strong.
Very strong.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That, basically.
To the point that I think the Ascension perk that gives you 2 extra envoys and more diplomatic weight is now one of the best Ascension perks in the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's
and,
all
and
my list of things to grab. But as the Merchant Republic, I think I also grabbed the what's
Civic.
the one that gives you? Yeah, that lets you stop using influence because I'm on
Oh,
Monday I'm
yeah.
doing a multiplayer game and I'm playing Habitat, so I need influence so bad.
Oh yeah.
I never win.
God.
Yeah. There's also a Civic, I think, that like I think if you're a Xenophile or if you're a merchant company thing, you can make a corporation. So you can get 2 extra envoys from a Civic, which is also really powerful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I also tried an Inward Perfectionist game in single player where I played super tall. The problem is I'm surrounded by a federation that hates me for no reason. It's like a 6-member federation, and they declare war on me like every 25 years, and I've never done anything. I've literally never done anything to them, and they constantly are ganging up on me.
I love it when people declare on me as Inward Perfection because it's the only opportunity you got to gain land, basically, through defensive wars. You can't declare war, so it's like, yes, please.
So it's like, yeah,
I
have 950 influence banked, and you guys just declared war on me, so I'm just going to go ahead and go around and claim all of your systems.
Yeah, I do exactly the same.
But I also finished, in that game, I actually finished the Horizon Signal for the first time. I kind of already was spoiled by what it does, but... yeah, it turns out to be really powerful.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
entire home system turns into Tomb Worlds, and you have 100% habitability in Tomb Worlds. You can build up one system that has the relative power of a small empire, which is pretty good. Yeah, so... yeah.
No, one thing you do suffer from as Inward Perfectionist is one envoy, and because of the... because the Diplo game is so strong now, you really feel it. You really feel it.
The thing is, I
can't even do espionage really well since you use envoys for espionage.
But I have no interest in what's happening with the outer barbarians. I have no interest in their wares, and their trinkets, and their nonsense.
Well, I actually
use the one
perfect empire.
I actually got on the council, the Galactic Council, as an Inward Perfectionist. Just by I had the most pops of any empire in the galaxy because I was like building gene clinics on all of my planets, and I have a very fast breeding species, and also eventually I was mass producing synthetics as well, because I took the option to resurrect the dead race from the Mind Vault or whatever and put them into synthetic bodies. That was like my secondary species, and I had way more pops than anyone else in the galaxy, and then I just used favors to get all of the like communist reforms passed that give you more diplomatic weight from population. So
I had a similar sort of thing. Like, what's the relic that turns one of your places into a Gaia world and also spawns some pops?
Oh, it's so good.
Foul tree, yes.
Yeah.
I had that. I had that stream for YouTube, and I got that.
Yeah, that's like the most powerful of the precursor artifacts, I think.
It's very good. I was doing it as Inward Perfectionist though, and every time I did it, it spawned 3 pops. By instantly, just kicked out of my country, like instantly. It was like, oh, welcome to a world. Go away.
I turned him into food.
The Cybrex. Cybrex is also really good because I seem to always have way too much minerals these days. Like, even if I'm not focusing on minerals, I always seem to be producing like 200 extra minerals a month.
Yeah. Same. At least now they're quite useful. I always seem to expend my minerals rather than just sell to the market because you can always build more houses, and there's always something to spend it on.
Right. Yeah.
With the new pop system, which I've kind of figured out now.
Yeah.
It's a bit complicated.
I've just learned that, like, just figure out ahead of time. Every world is going to have a purpose, and just figure out what this planet's purpose is going to be when you colonize it. And that's kind of the best way to play now. Like, okay, this is going to be a bureaucratic world. This is going to be a forge world.
Yeah.
that seems to be the way to go. Generalizing doesn't seem like it helps you out at all anymore.
No,
Uh,
the only
No,
way
same.
that really has to be generalized is your capital at the beginning, and then
Right.
later you specialize it.
Or
Unless you've got something special, like you've got nobles, which increase stability. You know, you throw a few one of those in the planet, it only helps.
there's
Or
also
bureaucrats.
yeah.
Also.
There's also the rural world.
Interesting.
Yeah, that the rural world designation can be kind of useful, especially if you have like agrarian ideal and you just have one world that's like for producing basic resources. That can work pretty well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in general, he's generalized. One thing I wish was in the update, unless there's a piece of the UI that I haven't noticed. So I think pop growth is quite dependent on your planet's capacity.
Partly,
right?
yeah, partly,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But there's no easy way of capacity without mousing something in your planet, unless I have missed the number completely.
Off topic, but I'm going to throw in, if anyone would like to see why it is Leanna hosting the streams now, I'm sure she can share the video I just shared on Discord.
Let me see here. I don't know if there's a way to open this in a browser. I guess I can download it and then pop it in here.
Yeah, it was he started on my lap. I've had to unplug my little hotkey keyboard. I've had to turn off my regular wireless keyboard and my wireless mouse.
Okay,
yeah.
1 sec. Let me see if I can change this window capture over.
Oh yeah, so Casey Guy says it's under the planet size, but you have to mouse over the planet size to find out the thing, you know. Whereas I would have rather just a simple number that I didn't have to mouse over a number to see. Probably my only like little gripe with Stellaris at the moment.
Oh,
Because I have to mouse over something, it's such a pain.
The video's just black for some reason when I try to capture DLC.
I mean, I guess I could put it in a more public. I could DM it, and then you could just play it from Discord.
I don't do screen capture for personal reasons, so it has to be something I can capture in a window.
That's all right. That's just audio description.
Yeah.
The rosebud is climbing all over the desk.
Yeah, it's very yeah. You can hear the sound at least. Yeah. Very fascinated with the microphone for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, so I am Lore Sworn Order on what website is it that we are streaming on right now? Twitch.
Yeah.
We're still cranking through Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And that's probably going to be the main thing for a little while here. I might do some EU4 when that patch comes out. I have so many ideas for stuff that I just don't have the time to do it all. Yeah.
You cannot stand up at the desk. No.
So yeah, you can follow the podcast on SoundCloud, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Twitch. We are finally caught up to date on SoundCloud. I have gotten all of the episodes that that are recorded up and handed these sound files over to Rose for YouTubeization.
Yep. I've got the YouTube, though. I think for the ones that are missing, I'm just uploading directly from Twitch, so they're gonna have video and everything.
Oh, that'll work. Yeah. Yeah. So you can subscribe to us any of those places. If you want to leave some stars, leave a review, tell your friends. Duct tape your friends to a chair and make them listen.
Yeah, like Clockwork Orange style.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Pin open their eyes.
Yeah. 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 We're not called NoCB. Be nice to your friends and I'm
You
so
all
out
have
of
the
it.
Clockwork Orange room.
Lambert was like, I've had really bad insomnia. I'm gonna take a week off, and I was like, yeah, totally understandable. I've been the same way, except that I'm here trying to ramble my way through a podcast anyway. Yeah, there was maybe a night that I stayed up playing Stellaris and realized it was 4:30 in the morning and completely messed up my sleep cycle.
I wish I could do that sometimes.
Yeah, I wish I had an excuse. I'm just illiterate and rambling. I just got brain problems. That's all.
Yeah. Well, whomst among us does not have brain problems? Why would we spend this much time staring at maps if we didn't have brain problems?
True.
All right. We'll be back around at the same time next week. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we will see you then.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.